So it has been 3 weeks since Donald Trump won the presidency. There's a new push, though, underway to recount the votes in 3 key swing states. Green Party candidate Jill Stein is challenging results in Wisconsin, and she's working on efforts to do the same in Michigan and in Pennsylvania. Trump narrowly won all 3. Wisconsin officials dismissing accusations that their machines don't work, but approving the plans for a recount.
To say that we didn't count them correctly the first time, that it somehow there were illegal votes being counted was really inappropriate.
Joining me now is Dr. Jill Stein. Welcome. Good to have you with us this morning. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So he says there's no reason to think that they miscounted in any way in Wisconsin. He's standing by their system. So why go through this?
Well, this is not to implicate the election administrators who work very hard, but there is plenty of evidence that these machines do malfunction, and they are subject to machine error, to human error. We know 90,000 votes were uncounted, for example, in an election in Ohio in the past where we actually did a recount or where there was a court case. You cannot see the evidence unless you actually count the paper votes and find out. Otherwise, you just wouldn't know. And voters deserve the assurance that we can actually be confident in the vote.
But
we're not doing this to help one candidate or hurt another, but rather to help voters restore their confidence.
I think everyone could understand that if there was some evidence that pointed in a direction that there was a problem in this particular election in Wisconsin, for example, where you're talking about, and you have, even Hillary Clinton's lawyers saying that they haven't uncovered any actionable evidence that there was any hacking or any interference. So what's up?
In all the cases where machine error or human error has been discovered in the past, like these 90,000 votes that were uncounted in Ohio, you don't know about it in advance. You only know about it when you go back to look. So you wouldn't expect to see the evidence beforehand. But in this, in this moment where we come out of this very divisive and bitter election, where there is such widespread cynicism about government, about the economy, we owe it to voters to show that we have a voting system we can be confident in, not just by recounting now, but by building in automatic safeguards.
I just don't know that there's, any groundswell for this to happen outside of the people that that are funding you. Here's Hillary Clinton the morning after the election. 140,000 people who came out of the woodwork to fund this over the course of 4 days on a Thanksgiving weekend, and all we did was put up a website and a press release. So there's a huge groundswell, to take back our democracy and to start by assuring that we can have confidence that our votes are being counted. Does it strike you as odd that you've raised more money to do this, $6.4 million, than you did during the course of your whole campaign? And are you suspicious at all about where this money is coming from? Because a lot of people are.
Well, our donors will all be disclosed. There are almost 140,000 of them, last I checked. The average donation is $45. So, wherever these voters are coming from, these are regular people who are throwing in small donations so that we can have a government that is about us, everyday people. There's not some, giant funder here who's making this happen.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. Under campaign finance laws, we are limited to $2,700 to start with, and we have the numbers to show that 99.5% of the donors are all under $1,000, and the average donation is $45. So we will be disclosing those numbers. They have to be public record.
So you're confident that those numbers aren't being bundled by perhaps someone like George Soros. There's been some speculation that perhaps he's involved in this. And frankly, people who are saying, this is clearly something that has been engineered by the Clinton campaign, and they don't want to have their fingerprints all over this, and that they're sort of using you, in their words, to be the front person on this.
When I was asked throughout the campaign, and I often was, would I stand up and file for a recount if there was doubt about the credibility of the vote, I always said yes, and it was not contingent on who won. I was asked many times during the election, who did I favor? And it was very clear that I did not favor one candidate over the other, and I took incredible heat
for standing my ground on that.
So, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Just to go back to my previous question, can you certify that, to your knowledge, George Soros has not made any donations to this fund?
You know, he might have made a $45 donation, or he could, at max, have made a $2,700 donation. But if he did, we would return it.
All right. What about the fact that Hillary Clinton came out the day after the election, and she said, look, it is time to move on. There is no reason to question the outcome of this election. And in fact, while she was saying those words on that very day, this effort was beginning. You know, why would you negate what she has asked for, and why would her people get on board so quickly while she was out there saying exactly the opposite?
Right. And I don't agree with her. I don't agree that our priority here is simply a smooth transition of power if that power is not, what should we say, if that transition is not verified.
All right, so you disagree with her. Let me ask you, would you be doing the same thing if Donald Trump did not win? Would you be trying to do this recount in these 3 states if Hillary had won them?
Yes, absolutely. And if we find evidence of a systemic problem, then we will be pushing to expand this recount into other states and across the political spectrum.
All right. He is ahead 306 electoral votes, which we just put up to 232, and has just been certified the winner in Michigan as well. I think if there was, you know, people who study these numbers closely who thought there was any chance that it would make a difference to do a recount, there'd be a lot more support perhaps for this effort. But you say that you feel confident that the money is coming from small donors. So,
absolutely.
Dr. Jill Stein.
And this is not about helping one candidate over another. This is about assuring the American people that, to start with, we have a voting system we can trust, because people do not trust where we are across the board. We got to start with our votes and being able to change our system.
Jill Stein. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back.